Nice. That's it.
Yep. And then when you're ready, just start broadcast,
Okay.
and you'll be on. I'll monitor the chat.
Testing, testing. Testing, testing.
Got it.
Hello. I think we have a few viewers here. We're looking at starting the Figmints digital marketing growth scale presentation in just a minute. We'll start in about a couple minutes here. Get excited. I just wanted to let you know that we were getting started soon. All right, everyone. Welcome to the Figmints Grow and Scale for your company. My name is James Kwan. I'm very excited to be on the call with you. We're going to get this presentation started. So you're probably coming into the room now and wondering probably two or three things. One, I'm going to take an hour out of my day and just see if this is worthwhile. These guys sent me, some of you are here because we sent you a really fun screwdriver and said, hey, your marketing is not that great, and it's not. This is not a drill, obviously, because it was a screwdriver that we gave you. And you're wondering if this is a recording. It is not. I'm actually a fan of recorded presentations, but this is one of the first presentations that we're giving like this, and we wanted to do these in person. So this is very live. We have Dave, who runs our digital marketing here, who's manning the conversation thread and the discussion. He's going to keep me in the loop and let me know through Slack if there's any questions that come up along the way. So feel free to bring those up live here. So very excited to go through this with you. Today we're going to be talking about a few things. One, we'll be sharing a little bit of information about who we are as an agency, what we do, and where we think we can help bring your company. This is a new philosophy for digital marketing. Most of you have heard about digital marketing before, probably only through the means of Google advertisements, or SEO is very popular these days, search engine optimization. You know that you could be doing more in terms of marketing. You don't know really where to start. I'm going to walk you through all of those things, talking about different methods of digital marketing, different initiatives that you can have, where you think you could be winning and losing when it comes to digital marketing. So we're going to walk through all of those things today and leave it open a little bit for discussion. And if there isn't any questions, we can finish a little early here. So again, please feel free to utilize that chat. Let us know if you have any questions along the way. So Figmints, you may have found out on our website. You may have done a little bit of research before you jumped into the webinar, but we are a full-service digital creative marketing agency, and I like to think of us as a digital creative marketing agency for these three reasons. We're highly technical. We understand what's capable in tech. We present beautiful. We do beautiful creative design, and we actually do it in a marketing strategy that brings it all together. And that's kind of the difference here. And I learned those things when I worked with these major firms. And so I got to help launch CVS.com in 2008. I worked on some of the first mobile applications for Verizon, AT&T, and the list goes on and on. And what I learned was you really need all those three things to be effective when you do your marketing. You can't just have a good-looking website. You need to have a good-looking website that actually does something. You can't just have a pretty website that doesn't work, or you can't have a pretty website that doesn't have the right words, or is not attracting the right audience. And so I quickly realized that you need all these three things, and that's exactly what we do. So we do these things in-house: branding, web and UI UX, which is an elevated level website design, user interface, user experience. We do video production in-house, and digital marketing as well. Feels like a lot of stuff, but it's all boils down to what we call the creative story, and whatever it takes to tell the creative story well. All tools in our tool belt to tell the necessary story for your audience. And so spending a little time here, this is the exact process that we bring through for all of our clients. And this is something that's really important. If you never thought about what your story is or how you're reaching your story to the audiences that you're trying to reach out to, every customer that you have engages with you because of your story. And your story could be low price. It could be it's easily accessible. They found it came up first in their search. For whatever reason, your story resonated with your customers. And so we're the first initiative that we take with our clients is to help realize what that story is that makes you so special, what makes you so unique. And then connect it to the exact right customer that you're trying to reach out to. And you might be on this call thinking, James, I hate the customers that we have. We need to really work with a whole new set of customers. They need to be elevated to a whole new level. We need to, we're working with tier 4 customers right now who spend $100 on average orders, but we have a few clients, maybe 10% of our clients are spending somewhere in the $1,000 to $5,000 per order. And that's really exciting. And I want to talk to more of those people. That's really interesting. Well, I want to know what makes your story relevant to those 10%, to those specific audiences, and we're gonna dig into a little bit of that. The way we start our process for developing this is obviously helping to understand what that story is, and we never say we write the story because the story exists. We don't make that up. But we help craft it in a way that communicates the best for the audiences that you're trying to reach. We put it in a visual brand around that story. So some of you might be on the call thinking, gosh, I inherited this business. I never got a chance to put my fingerprint on it. That's too bad. But we want that story to connect visually, right? We buy with our eyes. We absolutely want the first thing that people see about us to reflect that most important part of a story. Then we put the story in the most important place, the website. Your web, most people know us as a website design firm, but just because I think web is kind of this natural place where technology and brand story and creative and marketing, they all meet and convene right in the website. And so a lot of you might be thinking, gosh, my website really sucks. That's the thing that I really need to get done better. I need to do SEO better. But really, I'm gonna submit that potentially the reason why your website sucks is because the design isn't any good, and the design's not any good because you haven't reflected on your story well. So you can see kind of it all goes together. So the website's definitely something that we recommend and take care of. I'm going to walk you through some different ways and challenge the classic website design process today, and also constantly tell your story. So most people, when they have a great website up or they put a website up, it's just brochureware. It's just informational. And that's not good. We don't want the website just to be, hey, this is all about me, and then if you're interested, contact me, right? It feels like a very broken kind of dating ad. If you just said, hey, here's what I like, here's what I like, here's what I do, go ahead and call me. It's not very incentivizing. It's not the way you build real relationships. And so this effort to constantly tell that story in an effective manner, that's something absolutely that we're going to touch on how to do and why it's important. And some of the best content that you can put out there today is video, and that's why we do it in-house. And again, I'll touch on that as well. So the philosophy that we take through to get into the meat of why this is important is how do we do all this? Where do we start? And we like to start with the why. So put a chat yes or no in the comment box if you see if you've ever heard of Simon Sinek and are familiar with his work. So you guys might not see each other's chats, but we're seeing some chats here. So some people are familiar, some people aren't, no problem. Simon Sinek is a prolific business author, really philosophical author about economic development in our times. He's written some great books about leadership, Leaders Eat Last, as well as Start With Why. And in this book, Start With Why, he makes this argument that every company in the world knows what they do, this outer circle. They make bottled water, they produce computers, they sell a service, they are selling roofing or siding or lumber. Whatever they do, they almost always get stuck in the what. And they say, yeah, we got the best lumber here, or we got our double pane, triple pane, quadruple pane panel windows are the absolute best. And you really start to sell the what, and the what becomes a commoditized story. You start to fight for the lowest common denominator there, which is price. Good companies will start to talk about the how. So our installation process is the best, or we manufacture direct, or we bring you the best prices because we've been in business a long time, and so that how becomes the story for a lot of companies. Good companies, probably about 20-30% of companies, but the best companies, the reserved few, start with the why. It's not, hey, we've got the best stuff. It's, I care deeply about your needs. I care. We're in this because we want to see more people in more homes. We want to see, I care about your thirst. Here's a glass of water. That becomes such a powerful story when it comes to anything, really, whether you're selling things, whether you're trying to receive donations, whether you're trying to bring on volunteers or employees, and if you're trying to start a movement. So in the book, Simon Sinek also makes this argument that great movements like Martin Luther King Jr. to Gandhi use this philosophy. It wasn't, hey, meet me on the street corner, we're going to march. It was, hey, this is what I believe, and this is why I think everybody should believe it. And if you believe it too, come follow me. And that's a powerful way to tell the story. And so how does that resonate with you? Well, if you look at commercial companies like Apple or Nike, you see this very similar trend. Apple's not necessarily a computer company. They just removed the term computer from their name because they are more than that. They're the think different company. They're the future company. They're the cool company, right? You want to be a part of the Apple club. It almost doesn't matter what they produce. You can see Apple almost coming out with something totally different, totally new in the future because their why is so solid that people gravitate towards it, follow it, love it, and then the what sinks in afterwards. And I love this quote by Steve Jobs. He said, "The smallest company in the world can look as large as the largest company in the world on the web." He said that in '95. And so when you combine this philosophy of starting with why and this hope that even a small company, you might be on the call as less than $1 million or less than $10 million or wherever you are, you have competitors that are bigger than you, you're fighting for attention and wallet share with those competitors, right? Sometimes it's a national chain you're competing with. Sometimes it's someone right down the street that you're competing with, another family-owned business. For whoever it is, we can make you look like you're $1 million bucks, and that's a powerful, powerful way to tell the story. So we've gotten to do that with tons of really great companies, especially here in the Northeast. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with some of these. Some of you just would you type into the comment section of where you're from? That would be great. I'd love to see some more of that. So some people here from right here in Rhode Island, which is great. Some people here from Mid-Atlantic, which is awesome. Cool. It's great. Some Connecticut, some Rhode Island, some Mass. Awesome. Great. So who is this call not for? If you made it this way in, we're only 15 minutes in. I will save you some time. This is not for those who are looking for a quick fix or pig lipstick. So there's two things that I want to make clear. This process is not for people who are looking to get 100 leads tomorrow, or they have 0 and they want to go to 100, and you've tried, quote unquote, you've tried everything. marketing takes time, and I just want to put that out there. You have to understand, if you have no place to start, or you haven't done anything in your marketing, definitely you have to consider marketing as a shift in your philosophy, a shift in your paradigm, so that you can start to think about marketing a little bit better. Also, lipstick on a pig. Marketing can do a lot. People have used marketing for probably not the best reasons in the past. So if your reviews are all terrible on Yelp and Google, and you have lots of one-star reviews, and you just aren't really good at customer service, people don't like your product, your services aren't that great, marketing can do a lot to put lipstick on that pig, but at the end of the day, you're still a pig. And so I would highly recommend that you go after something else. There's probably some other things that you can do to ramp up your business. I'm going to show you the hard work that it takes to bring your customers through a predictable channel and a process that is totally kind of a different way, a different philosophy of thinking. You have to have really great execution for this marketing to consistently work, because, as you know, the best customers that you have are going to be from referrals. And so the whole question is, how do we replicate those referrals? So we follow something called the inbound methodology. Some of you, feel free to comment in the comment box here if you've seen this dialogue before. This is basically from HubSpot. We are a HubSpot partner. We love utilizing HubSpot as software. But they say they coined the term inbound. I think it's been around a little bit longer than that. But if you notice, I'm going to zoom in here and see if I can make this a little bit larger here for you. So there's these 4 stages in the inbound methodology: attract, convert, close, and delight. And whether this is not surprising, you will notice that this is not very different than how you do things today so far. So from the middle up, from the circles up. So the idea here is that we're turning strangers, people who've never heard about your business, and then we want them to become promoters of the brand. We want them to actually give us more referrals. And that's kind of the heart of it all. How do we do that? So there's a systematic way that we do it, and this is really important. So we want to take strangers and we want them to visit us. We don't want them to just visit us on the web. We want them to visit us maybe in person if you have a great showroom. Maybe you're at an event. We have a lot of clients who do home shows, especially in this category. You might have your own kind of networking or show that you do that's really popular. So for whatever thing, we want to turn people who've never heard about us to hear about us and then also visit us. And so when they visit us, we don't want them to just visit. We don't want them to come eat our pizza, drink our beer, and then leave. We want them to give us their information, right? We want to have a discussion with them. The old-fashioned way of doing this is, having a conversation. We want them to give us their email, ask them for their business card, but usually it's because they're interested in something too, right? Just keep that in mind. So when they give us their contact information, the good old-fashioned way that they become a customer is you're going to reach out to every single one of them. I'm not saying you need to do this in this philosophy. I'm just saying the old-fashioned way of doing this is you need to reach out to every single one of them and have a real discussion with them. Hey, Mark, it was great having a discussion with you. I remember you were telling me that you've been a contractor for 20 years. That's awesome. Hey, I have this really great tutorial on how to take your contracting business to the next level, or how to hire your next 10 employees. I just thought that would be cool for you to have. So I made it. Here you go. Here's the information. Maybe it's something like a tip sheet or a demo, or hey, Jake, you were really interested in this new quadruple pane window that we have because you think your customers would be into it. Awesome. Let me give you a video that we did as demoing this product. That sort of communication process, and if they probably enjoyed that, you follow up with them a week later. Hey, did you get that thing that I sent you? And did you watch that video? I just wanted to check in with you. By the way, I saw this blog post. You should check this out. 3 weeks later, you should contact them again. A month later, you should contact them again. And some of you are probably nodding your head like, yeah, of course we should, but I don't have time to do that. And hold your horses. Just hold on just 1 minute there. Up until the point you have this conversation, you're building these leads until the point they become customers. And sometimes customers aren't necessarily people who give you money. Customers or the end result that you're looking for might be a great partnership, right? Or it might be because that partnership's going to create more customers for you, or it's going to whatever end result that you're looking for. And you don't stop there. The best clients that we've worked with don't stop at the close. You know, the relationship doesn't stop when you get them to give you money. You want to delight them as customers, and you want to give them that great experience. And this is why I said this is not for people who are looking for pig lipstick. This is for people who actually care about this last step, delighting the customers that you have, so that you turn them into promoters, so that you turn them into referrals, so that you get referrals from them, and you start to build this network. So as I zoom out here, you'll notice that all along the way, we're using digital means today in order to do this effectively. So how do we turn strangers, people who've never heard about your business, and how do we get them to visit your website, visit you at an event? Well, we're using blogs and using keywords. We're using social media to do that. It's such a powerful tool today. If you haven't engaged in using some form of social media, I absolutely highly recommend it. It's something that gives you such a positive return because it lives forever. And we'll talk about that earned media. It lives forever. How do we turn the visitors, people who engage with you and visit the website? We don't want them to just visit, right? We want them to engage with us somehow. So how do we do that? We set up landing pages and call to action so that they can take part of information that offer, that tutorial that I said, or the checklist that we come up with. We can put that out there as what we call the pre-transactional offer. It's non-transactional, or it's pre-revenue, pre-dollar transactional. So why this is important is because most, I'd say probably 90% of the clients that we work with, they get this part wrong, and this is such a critical part that I wanna really hammer home. If your website is a brochure website, it's just talking about you, what you've done, how good you are, how awesome you are, how great you smell, and all you're saying is, hey, contact me, call me. That's not a very engaging way to build that relationship. A better way to do it, like I said, is to create this really helpful content that people want to engage with that's outside of just the contact. And so you're asking them to do something less than contact you. You're asking them to check out more material, or watch this video, or download this article. That is a much better way to engage with them preliminarily. So at first, so once you capture that information, I would count that person as a lead. So if you engage with, if that person downloads that content, they're going to give you their email. They'll trade you their email address for that piece of content. So it's an even exchange. And today, digitally, we use something called signals and workflows, which are basically fancy ways of saying this is an automated process. So once they download that information, we're going to send them an automatic follow-up 2 days later that says, hey, hope you enjoyed that video that you just watched. Hey, first name, hope you enjoyed that video that you first watched. Hey, I noticed that we can tell where the person's coming from. So or maybe we just straight up ask them what state they're in. Hey, I noticed you're in Connecticut. Did you know that we work with these 2 other people in your area? I think you would get a kick out of their customer case study. Here's another video to watch. So we're constantly kind of bringing them through this funnel, and it's quite a powerful process. So up until the point where they become a customer, and you might be saying, James, we don't have an e-commerce channel on our website. We don't take orders online. Some of you might, which is great, but if you don't do this, we're warming up those leads and only having your salespeople deal with the most valuable leads out there. So there's a scoring system, something called Signals, where we can score those leads by their activity, and we can kind of analyze and see, okay, well, if this person had downloaded a few things and done this activity, then they're a higher score. So until the point they become a customer, we can tell that they become a customer. And we can send them customers special content because they're customers. And in fact, we can send them special content to incentivize them to start to refer to their network. So we might run contests and promotions in order to draw referrals from them. So this is something we hear all the time also. Referrals From everybody, I'd say the majority, 60 to 70% of our clients, they say that referrals are the best source of business. It's how they do almost all of their marketing now. In my opinion, if all of your business is coming from referrals, you're just not doing that much marketing, right? You're just producing really great work, and you're doing great work, and that great work is getting you out there. And you're probably on this call because that hasn't been enough in the last 5 to 10 years. And you've seen sales kind of dwindle because you've only been relying on referrals. But the opposite might be true too. For those 60 to 70%, I would say at least half of them don't ask for referrals specifically. They don't go to their customers and say, hey, you know what, thank you for purchasing. I hope you really enjoyed your experience. Would you rate how you enjoyed your experience? If they rate, 4 or 5 out of 10, I want to go back to them and say, that's amazing. I'm so glad. It warms my heart to have you as a customer. If you had such a great experience, there would be nothing on the planet that would mean more to me than if you would refer us to some of your network, someone in your network that might be able to utilize our services too. I would say the vast majority, 60 to 70% of people don't do that. So we can do that automatically. We know when they become a customer, we can set them up in specific lists, set up separate specific events for them, set up specific social accounts for them, give them what we call smart content until they become promoters of the brand. So that is the whole inbound methodology, the systematic process. I hope that's helpful for you. Please feel free to post on the chat. Yes, if this is helpful. You feel free to post. Hey, I've heard this before. Get to the good stuff. I hope this is for most of you. This is the good stuff. So here's kind of the magic of this. Okay, so let's say Joe is your perfect ideal customer. Joe is a contractor or a homeowner or whatever. Joe could be whoever you want. He's your ideal customer. You know exactly, or you have a really good idea of how much Joe makes annually. You know what kind of job Joe has. You know what kind of, how to win Joes over in conversations, in a sales conversation. Here's the thing. You kind of dream about it as a business owner or as a marketing executive in your company. You kind of dream about, how do I get more Joes? And this has kind of kept you up at night. When you run this process digitally, we can start to measure all along the way what the process is like. We can say, okay, well, Joe, we find more Joes in Twitter than any other social media. This is hypothetical, of course. We just realized, when we post our content in social media, we realize he's 30% more likely to be on Twitter. And you know what? When we post our content, he's 50% more likely to engage with our content if it's video. And he's 70% more likely to engage with our content engage with our email if there's a comparison in the subject line. So if in order to get more Joes, we've kind of pulled the data out of what really works and what doesn't. And we can see, okay, well, when Joes watch 2 videos and they come to our website 3 times in 2 months and they come to a live event, they're 95% more likely to be a customer with us for over 3 years. That's unbelievable marketing data. We didn't have that 10 years ago. And today we're able to analyze this almost automatically. And that is extremely powerful. Hopefully, some of you are thinking, wow, that's incredible. And I want to give you a little bit of truth right here, because most marketing agencies will stop here and say, now give me all your money, and we're gonna do this for you. The honest truth is, this takes time, right? This takes hard work to put together. And in fact, if you're a smaller company than, let's say, $1 million, this is really, really hard. You're not going to get to this in your first year, maybe not even your second year. This takes time to really start to analyze and see, because your customer base isn't that large, right? You don't have 10,000 hits on your website every month. You don't have hundreds of customers every month that can be analyzed like this. You're doing things the kind of the old-fashioned way, but I'm going to go out on the limb, because the vast majority of our customers that we talk to don't look at their funnel. They're not looking at what is working. How do we get more Joes? What does a Joe look like, right? A lot of companies that we meet with, they haven't thought about their ideal persona. They haven't thought about who their customer is today and who they want it to be, right? So maybe today it's Joe, tomorrow we want it to be Jack. We want Jack to have a little bit more money, or we want Jack to be a little bit bigger. We've been dealing with Joes, and Joes are about a $500,000 to $1.5 million contractor. You know what? We've done really great work with guys who are in the $2 to $5 million market. All right, well, that's a different persona. Let's see what really matters to those guys and start to go after them. So you've probably done your marketing the same way, attracting the same customers, and that's been the hardest part. Well, what we like to do is start to analyze absolutely what is going to impact the Joe, that existing customer, and then see what channels. This is an imaginary channel that I just created. What channels are the most effective? And here's how, if you're thinking, James, this is all awesome, but this must cost a fortune to do. It doesn't have to. And I'm going to show you a way that you can implement this yourself. Obviously, we would love to help you do that because we're a marketing firm that works with companies just like you. But I want to show you the value of this and how you prove the return on investment on it. So let's say that Joe's lifetime value is about $5,000. And so I'm going to start from the right side here. The profit we make on that is $1,000. That might be high. So the 20% profit on a $5,000 lifetime value is pretty high. But roll with me here for a minute. So it could be 10,000 and 1,000, so 10% profit. That might be closer to what your profit margins are. But we know that in order to get a Joe, in order to get our perfect customer, we need to have 10 discussions. I need to talk to 10 people. Each of these guys represents 3.3 people. So the idea is, if I talk to 10 people, I'm going to get a Joe, right? Well, how many people need to view my website in order to have those 10 discussions? Well, maybe it's 1,000, maybe it's 100, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 10,000. So I'm going really conservative here and saying 10,000 people need to view the website in order for 10 to reach out to have discussions with me, right? So how do I get 10,000 people to my website? Well, maybe you spend $500 in advertising. That's not so uncommon. We can definitely get 10,000 views of an ad. But if we spend $500 in social media, still some of the best return on investment that you can get. We are getting 10,000 views, which is leading to 10 discussions, which is leading to a Joe, which is worth to us about $1,000 at the end of the day. $5,000 in revenue, $1,000 in profit. And so what we've done is built a funnel. We've built a machine where you put $1 in and you get $2 out. You put $500 in and you get $1,000 out. And again, I'm going to go on a limb because 95%, 99% of clients that we talk to don't think about their marketing in this way. They don't think about how effective is my marketing per channel. And so I don't have a slide for this, but you can imagine duplicating this channel from social media to Google ads to events that we run. By the way, time is money, right? So we want to look at things like if you were doing the home show, you can imagine spending somewhere between $500 and $3,000 to have a booth and sponsorships. So let's call it $1,000, but it's your time too. You have two senior people whose time is worth at least $100 an hour. So you have them all day for 3 days, right? Those events and shows become very expensive, but it could be fruitful for you because they are worth it at the end of the day. That you produce 10 Joes from a show that you ran. But I want to look at all of those initiatives and those activities. Even though we're a digital firm, I think those non-digital activities are still very important. I just want to look at it across the board and see which ones have the best ROI. If it's, are we doubling our money there? Is it a 10% increase on our money? What is the activity that we do in the front end that gets us the most people in the back end? And I can tell you right now that one of the best ROIs that you can have out there is return on investments that you can have is in referrals, right? You don't really pay for referrals. I would argue that some of your operations cost in giving great service is actually a part of your cost for referrals, but also some of your marketing that it takes to actually implement the processes to reach out to your customers, to incentivize them and give them referrals. Maybe it's you start to think about, all right, well, hey, we can run a program where we're giving away steak dinners every month, and we're giving away these $250 gift cards every month for the person who refers us the most people. And that is a powerful contest, a powerful sweepstakes, a powerful engaging offer that you can create that'll drive more people to refer people to you. So you need a system for that. You need a way to engage and manage that. And certainly we can help with that if you'd like. But you can there's great tools out there, tools like Rafflecopter and Glean that can run sweepstakes for you. There are great email automation tools like MailChimp that are out there. I would stay away from things like Constant Contact. We've never had the best luck with Constant Contact and the system. In terms of marketing automation tools, we really like HubSpot. There are less expensive tools out there that we're happy to walk you through if that's the case. But you need these tools in order to actually analyze this information. It's almost impossible to do manually, and we can help you. We can help you in those. So, last couple of things that I will show you here in terms of website. So, James, I started this because you hit the nail on the head. My website is the thing that feels the most broken right now. I did mention to you, I want to show you a new philosophy for how we do this, how we engage, kind of some granular information for how we get better activity, better results from your website. And I will walk you through that process by first kind of showing you what it's like in the traditional world of website design. So traditionally, websites have been kind of an interesting area of marketing, because like I said, it's the hub where everything lives in your marketing, and it's really hard to keep up with it all the time, make changes that are actually going to show me impact. Some of you might have your website built on a content management system, a CMS that lets you easily edit content. That's great. That's a great start. Some of you might be blogging occasionally for your website. So feel free to chat. I'd love to get a quick sense of if, on a scale of 0 to 10, how familiar are you with updating and managing a website? So 0 would be, I know absolutely nothing. I barely know that we have a website. And 10 is, hey, you're speaking to, you're dumbing it down too much for me. So I'll try to, getting a quick litmus of where you guys are at. So we see some 5. We always get 5s when we ask that question. People are they feel like they're right in the middle, somewhere in between that. Let's see here. Great. All right. So you're right in the middle. Some 2s, some 3s, some 6s and 7s. All right. So in terms of website design, this is a traditional website design process. We have a site. It lives for 2 to 3 to 5 years, sometimes 10 years. Maybe you're chuckling to yourself because it's like, James, I've had this website for 25 years. That would be impressive, because that's kind of when the internet was being born. So that's awesome. So you take about 3 to 6 months to build a website. You spend a lot of time. Okay, what did we learn? What have I heard out there? You spend a little bit of time. You architect a new website. You hire a firm to do this, or you do it yourself. You spend that time. You build a new website. You celebrate. You crack open the champagne, and then you launch a new website. And then it just sits there again for 3 to 5 to 10 years. And then you go through the process and you say, okay, time to redesign now. It's getting a little stale. You redesign the website, and then you launch. And then it, as you can see, it just goes over and over, repeats the cycle. And it takes a lot of time in order to see the impact that you want to see from such a powerful tool as your website. Your website, show of hands, let me know. Give me a yes or no that you know that you can get more value from your website than you're getting today. Hopefully, I'm not looking at the stats here, but hopefully lots of yeses. So growth-driven design, GDD, is a new way to look at websites. It's not that new. We've been using it for a long time, but it's been branded. This process has been branded as growth-driven design. and we're really, really big fans of it. So the process has been around for a little while. We called it in UI UX, user interface, user experience, we called it conversion rate optimization, or CRO. So if you Googled growth-driven design or CRO, you'll actually see a lot of articles about this process that date really far back. But the basic principle about growth-driven design is, instead of spending all this time where the website is really stagnant, let's continuously work on the website, maybe month over month. Let's think about what are the incremental changes that we can make to this website. All right, so we have the website live. Let's analyze the traffic. Let's see which parts of the website get the most traffic. Mostly, almost all the time, it's home pages. So homepage gets the most traffic. And you know what? Our about page gets a lot of traffic. I didn't know that. All right, so let's look at our about page in more detail. Let's see that, you know what? I realized people just stop looking at our website after our about page. Well, guess what? We don't have anything else for them to look at. Right? We're not incentivizing them to look at anything else. We're not sharing with them other information or other areas of the website that might be interesting to them. So what I call that is terminaling. So I don't want people to terminal on any page. I want them to cycle and continue to spend time on our website, learn more about us, and potentially even engage with us. Even if it's not buying something, I want them to engage with us because they feel like, wow, that's really relevant, helpful information. I want to engage with that, like I was talking about before. And so we'll constantly start to build these little experiments that we want to run. We might run what we call A/B tests. So we'll take that about page because it's highly trafficked. We'll look at maybe putting a video at the top of the page versus putting a button that has a link to a top 10 checklist or whatever. So we have those two pages. I want to see, well, the result I want is more customers, all right? The result I want is more engagement, more people to click through. What are they going to click through more? So let's put those two pages live together and then actually A/B test them. And what we can do this using Google AdWords, Google Analytics, or we can do it using a marketing automation software. We can actually have those two pages live and then split the traffic to each of those pages. And then after about a month or two, we can see which one won, and we'll implement that. And then while we were waiting for the results, we were working on that next test. We were working on a better contact page. We were working on a better career section, a better culture section. We were working on a better product section. Hey, we realized a lot of our customers come back to our website to see our directory of XYZ. Well, maybe it makes sense to spend some time to really build that out, to make it easier for people and give them an even better experience. We've heard a lot about it in our surveys that, by the way, surveys, great way to get customer feedback. We hear a lot in our surveys that it's really hard. I hate having to, the prices always change. I need to download the thing over and over again. Well, maybe it's time to build out a little bit of an app that runs pricing live on your website. Maybe it's time to do that. But you don't know any of those things unless you ask, unless you get that feedback. And unless you start to analyze. And what happens if you do this growth-driven process over time, you start to see that value come back immediately. So all that impact that was lost after having years and years and years of this spaced out process for your website, now you're able to see kind of the dynamic improvement over time. And of course, when you apply your marketing and sales on top of that, it becomes exponentially more impactful. And so that's what we want to see. We want to get those numbers going to the right, up and to the right for all those metrics that we want to see, things like traffic, things like conversion rate, and we want to see that ROI increase, right? That what my favorite KPI that I look for is the cost per customer acquisition. We want to see that number go down, right? So if I know that, okay, in order to get a Joe, it's going to cost me $500. That's what I just proved here in this channel. Well, if I could spend $400 in order to get a Joe, that's that much more profit for me because we sign 100 Joes every month. Well, I want to do that. I want to do everything in my power to increase the number of views that I can get for $500, increase the number of discussions that I can get from views, increase the lifetime value. There's all of these numbers in business that we can play with, and it can have a positive effect on your marketing. But that takes time. We need to measure it first. We need to lay out that canvas first. And there is a very refined process that we go through. And I'll show you that as the last thing I'll do is show you how we get there. So we like to start off with a process called the journey line. And the journey line is a strategy and discovery session. It starts off with there's a lot of things involved in a journey line process. There's a deep kickoff. We might do multiple half-day sessions, or depending on your budget, maybe one half-day session. Learn a lot about your company. Dig into mission, vision, core value. Where are you now? Where are you going? What's important to you as a business owner, or you as on the executive team? What matters to you going forward? We'll do something called a brand card exercise, where we understand what the story really is, start to craft that story in a positioning statement, in taglines and true lines. You start to know what those are. Help define what the current Coca is. Set some benchmarks so we know where we're working from. Understand truly your customer profile, your deep competitive analysis, set some goals, and then write your marketing plan and strategy for, let's say, the 3, 6, 12, 18 months. And this is a great initial process that we have set pricing for. It's for local, regional, and national companies. They have set pricing, and one for global, which is a huge process. I'm going to guess that most people on this call aren't global companies. You're not selling worldwide. You may. That'd be great. That's great if you are. So that is a process that we start with. We start with a journey line. And here's how we work. Last kind of granular thing I'll show you. We work in an agile process. There's a component in the agile process called sprints. Sprints last anywhere from 45 to 50 hours of work. They take 2 to 3 weeks to complete. And our cost for a sprint is $5,500. And so why this is helpful is I'm going to speak in terms of sprints from now on. And hopefully it gives you kind of an immediate sense of, all right, that's a lot of time Figmints is putting in. All right, that's a project that's going to be X amount of weeks. That's, this many months. And there's a cost. So, just to make the math easy, if it was 5K, very close, around 5K for a sprint. If your budget was around $55,000, for the course of the year, that gives us 10 sprints to work with. And I would say, all right, great, 2 sprints here, 3 sprints there, 1 sprint here, 4 sprints for video. And so that would be a big video, by the way. But that's how we would craft a strategy and approach. It makes it really easy. Most of our projects start with 1 sprint, kind of in every category. The journey line process is 2, 4, 6 sprints for local, regional, national companies. And in terms of, so I definitely have something special for people who joined us on this call. This is kind of our one of our inaugural calls. So I wanted to offer this. I am very live giving this presentation. So I wanted to offer something that was a little an incentive or a bonus for people who are going to join on from this call. So being on this call is a big deal. You're beating your peers in that sense. We usually recommend that B2B customers, or this is the research actually that we find in Forrester, in HBS, that B2B companies spend 5 to 10% of their revenue in terms of marketing. So for every $1 million, you're spending somewhere between 50 and 100K. I say these numbers are a little high. I'd say B2B companies spend about half that, maybe 2.5% to 5% of their revenue towards marketing, so 25 to 50K a year. And that might account for salary costs for a marketing director. It might account for hosting for your website. It might account for advertising that you do. There's a lot of things that go into marketing, maybe putting up posters, or maybe you own a billboard. Whatever that thing is, this is what you should be spending in marketing. B2C is about double that. So the biggest company that I see spend dollars in marketing is Red Bull. Red Bull spends about 35% of their revenue in marketing, which is wild. But you can see how effective that is. They sponsor basically every extreme sporting event out there. So it's a crazy kind of a world that Red Bull lives in. B2B, on the most part, I think larger companies do spend 15 to 20%. So, but I'm going to say companies that are just starting out, spending anywhere between 5 to 10% of their revenue towards marketing, which is for B2B is actually pretty low. And so you might be on the call. Some of you are in the lumber industry. Some of you are in the build to order industry. Some of you are in the services business with materials on the side, roofing, siding, railing, etc. So or some other business entirely. And so you might be thinking, James, we have been working with contractors a lot. We're trying to get into this space where we're working with more consumers because they have a better return on investment. The margins are a lot better on the consumer side. Well, yeah, the margins are better, but you need to spend more money in marketing. So that's kind of the double-edged sword there. But absolutely, we hear that all the time. I'd say probably half of our customers are in that same situation. They've been doing business kind of that old-fashioned way, with a handshake, a wink, and keeping good names. But customers are savvier than ever in how they are looking for their vendors, how they're looking for their partners. So we want to engage them at that level, and we want to see what it takes to really bring them on. And if you are a believer that it's not always price that's going to win, because you can, I think I told you in the beginning here, you can win the story if you're the lowest price. People will find you. You can do a little marketing to market that you're the lowest price, and that's not necessarily the worst story, but I think there are better stories out there to tell. And if you are not the lowest price, give me an amen or a yeah in the chat. All right, so what should you be spending? I have no idea. I don't know where you guys are in terms of revenue, but I will say a great start is to look at your revenue and say, all right, well, I'm going to break this down. 50% of my revenue should go to B2C, 50% should go to B2B. You can do the math, and that might take you a little bit of time. But what we've done for you here is basically for people on this call, I want to add somewhere between half a sprint and a sprint to this engagement. And so this is a great start-off approach. Starting off with a little bit of light discovery, figuring out where you are, what the story is, where you need to go. That storyline process, about a half sprint to a full sprint, depending on the size of the company, who you're trying to reach. I think video, again, is some of the most engaging form of content out there. I think that we can do an amazing video for one sprint, but if your budget was there and you wanted to do something like a commercial, one sprint probably won't cover it. We might be looking at something like 2 sprints to do a video. And then in terms of marketing, it's about half a sprint to set up the marketing funnels based on what we learned in the journey line, get that set up and going. So you can see here, half, 1.5, that's 2 altogether, 2 sprints. So what I want to do is extend your marketing process. So anybody who's on this call, you can just kind of write in the chat. Dave is fielding those. If you're interested in getting started with the journey line or having a kind of a mini report, this is 60%, 70% of very similar to this presentation is what we show new clients or potential clients that we work with or reach out to us. So if you want to have a 15 to 20 minute discussion about how we could help you, this is a fantastic way to get started. The 2 sprint method to get a journey line process, the video and marketing off the line, get it going. But if you're interested in running with this because you joined us on this call, what we're going to do is tack on an additional half sprint of growth-driven design. Basically, it's basically another month of this marketing process, watching these funnels work. And this is a great start to getting your marketing going. So huge benefit for getting things started. We'll also throw in a 6-month engagement on our marketing automation software. So we have a very light marketing automation tool that we use internally. And typically it's the cost of maybe $300 a month or so. But for joining us on this call, you get that included as well. If you start to engage. So we'll set this up for you in the 2 sprints, get it going, and you'll be off and running with all of this process, with all this marketing. If you're interested in that, please let Dave know. We have 5 minutes left here in the call, and so I hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. Some of you might be thinking, "Gosh, there's so much to figure out and learn," and there's two ways to think about this. One is the DIY, it's do it yourself, and that could be frustrating. There's a lot of things to learn. But I'd say don't get frustrated. There's a lot of incredible materials, incredible resources. We've created a ton, especially in your industry, that are available to you. Feel free to check out our blog. Join us at this event that's coming up in a couple weeks here, Monday, March 26th. At the Isle Brewers Guild, amazing facility. If you guys haven't been there, for those of you in Rhode Island, maybe you're familiar with it. They got huge, a little bit of funding to build out this. It's a brewery incubator. So they have massive tanks. Gansa is being built or made out of there now. Farmer Willie's, lots of great companies. So check it out. Free beer, free pizza. We're going to talk more about marketing. We're going to have a speaker from HubSpot come out. So another great resource to check out. But don't get frustrated. Think about your 2 ways. Again, DIY, do it yourself. The other way is have it done for you. And the way we like to equate it is, roughly for the cost of having an intern run this for you for 6 months, you're going to get a lot of value out of just getting into the journey line, really going through the process, and really learning a lot about where your company is, where you need to go, helping write that marketing plan for you. So feel free to, by the way, ask any questions here. We'll field some questions the last 3 minutes. We might have time for one question or so. So as those questions come in, I'll just mention again this process. Don't get too frustrated by it. It's absolutely it absolutely takes time. There's nothing magical about digital marketing. In my opinion, it's the control panel of the plane. So many companies that I see are trying to fly the plane without a control panel. That you're not looking at, what your traffic is. You're not looking at, who comes in or why they get there, how they found you. So setting up this process is all about learning more about the process itself, and that's everything when it comes to knowing your marketing, knowing where you're going, and then how to get there. So do you have to use HubSpot? No, you don't have to use HubSpot. There are lots of great tools out there. I would recommend checking out Envision. I would recommend checking out Marketo and Eloqua and Marketing Cloud. Those are all the kind of big players out there. There's 2 or 3 that are really interesting, that are kind of smaller digital marketing players. We have one that we license and partner with. I would say the pricing for HubSpot is around $200 for a very basic package. It has no automation. It goes up to about $800 a month is kind of the medium package that we recommend our clients start with. And then of course it goes up from there based on how many contacts you have and how much you're using it. But we like to try to roll that into our fee and figure out what else we can get done on top of that software. So definitely worthwhile to check out. One more question here. Yeah, how much of our customer base is in this market? We actually, I'd say the majority is in the industrial manufacturing retail space, and so we really like this category. I love working with companies like this. So whether it's in building materials, or it's in food production, or it's in retail manufacturing or contract manufacturing, that makes up probably 60 to 70% of our work. A good chunk of our work is in the nonprofit space. We've done a lot of municipalities, City of Providence website, City of Fall River website. Those are 2 great projects to check out. You've probably seen those examples of case studies on our website. And then the rest, probably a small sliver, is technology, professional services. We're familiar. Obviously, we're a professional service company, so very familiar with that process. I think it's just kind of a matter of understanding this process is really similar for everybody. If you're talking about the funnel, how you create the funnel, who you're trying to reach out to in that funnel, this process works really across the board for any industry. Setting up that control panel, learning about what makes a difference in your marketing. So that's all we have for today. Right at the 12 o'clock, the 1 hour mark. I hope this presentation was helpful for you. This is one of the first of many webinars that we want to do. This is kind of the overview webinar that we want people to start to engage with. But there are other webinars that we're going to that you're going to start to see, and we'll sort of let you know about throughout the year. If you're interested in a very specific topic, whether it's ad spend or social or SEO, please let us know in the comments. Give us some feedback. We'll send out a survey after this call's over. If you have any questions, fantastic. You just have to let us know that you were on this call. Let Dave know that you're on the call, that you're interested in potentially joining us on this package so that you can get that free additional month of digital marketing. Let me know again your comments and feedback on this presentation. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great rest of the afternoon. We will talk to you soon, hopefully.